So a reprint has been announced for Pokemon 151 Japanese booster boxes coming in May, which is fantastic news. But before we get too overjoyed with it, let's have a look at what's happened to prices so far and when I think will be the best time for you to pick up your Pokemon 151 boxes. Hey everybody, it's Pokemonster TCG here, back with another video. In today's video, we will be discussing the hottest set from the Scarlet and Violet era. Now, just before I get into it, don't forget I still have my giveaway running. The link will be down in the description below. I'm giving away a free Wild Force and Cyber Judge booster box, as well as a Charizard PSA 10 slab. Now, going into the main part of the video, the reprint has been announced through many different channels, but obviously we're going to stick with the most reputable websites, such as PokeBeach, which confirms that a reprint has been announced and it will be restocked in stores at May. Now, it's very interesting when you get a reprint of a very popular set because you don't really know how it's going to affect prices. Sometimes people might be overestimating how much the price is going to drop and might just miss the boat by the time the prices come back up. And I'll be giving you some of my experience from a previous reprint of a very popular set. But first, let's take a look at some more information about the reprint. So here I have a second news source on Sneaker Dunk, which is basically confirming that it will be given for mass retailer sales as well as in convenience stores. So it looks like this reprint is pretty wide. We don't know exactly the quantities in which it's going to be reprinted, and indeed we also don't know whether this will be the final reprint of Pokemon 151. I think when you get news like this, people might sometimes assume, oh, this is going to be the last one. But before you get into that, just remember that this set has barely been out for a year, so it is well within the window for further reprints, especially with where prices have gone up to now. So one thing that I found interesting on the PokeBeach website was that they said that the price has dropped to 15,625 yen, and it should drop even further because the boxes will retail for 5,800 yen. Now, the data that I've looked at so far over the last few days does not match up with this, so let's take a look at Sneaker Dunk, which is this Japanese resale website, sort of the Japanese version of StockX, which does have some very useful price charts. So here you can see you can select the prices based on the number of boxes sold together. We're going to go for one box and we're going to look at the price in the past week or so, because that's exactly when the reprint has been announced. So before the news of the reprint sort of filtered through, you could see that the resale price was 20,000 yen, being 130 bucks, which is pretty high considering you still have to pay for the shipping and import. But once the news of the reprint got announced, there was a sort of mass sell-off from the sellers. You can see the price dropped sharply downwards, keep going up until 3 days ago, Tuesday. Between Tuesday and Wednesday, the massive low that it hit was 13,000 yen. But interestingly, you'll see that since then, it's sort of rebounded a little bit. And I think that's something that's really important to note with these popular sets is we've talked about the reprint coming in May, and this may have panicked a few people into selling. PokeNE, I'll give credit to as well, had an alternative theory, which is that a lot of these resellers are willing to sell for these prices because they're still making 2x or 3x based on their cost basis, and they can just use that money to buy the new stock that's coming out. However, I think there's something different that's going on here. So I think that the price drops and price increases that's happening right now is a little bit of speculation as to what's about to happen. Now, I don't know if specific Japanese resellers and retailers have specific information about the quantity of the reprint, but anything that's, happening a month out from the reprint to me is someone's guess or estimation on what's going to happen to the price. So they may be, for example, overestimating the print run of the reprint, and therefore they might be selling for lower than the price that the reprint is going to settle at. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is anything that's happening right now is still speculation based on what the reprint size is going to be and whose hands it's going to end up in. Let's not forget, 151 is one of the highest graded sets in terms of population in the PSE registry. So it's not like it was a short print run when it came out at the first time. What happened was just that the supply, or the majority of the supply, was concentrated into the hands of a very few select Japanese resellers. Now, the question I have with this reprint is it's undoubtedly great news, and actually While I'm at it, a Ruler of the Black Flame reprint has also been announced, which is great. But what is there to stop the same thing from happening on release this time? Because as we've seen, people might argue that we're in a down market, the economic cycle is not that good, but whenever there is something hype, people are willing to put their money into it. Let's look at the Van Gogh Pikachu, for example. You know, that came out a few months ago, and at that time, it's not like the economic situation was better, but that product got absolutely scalped to death until Pokemon reprinted. So the counter argument that I have to people who think that the reprint is going to be great for the price going down even further from this point is, how do you know what's going to happen to the supply there? Now, obviously, I hope that I'll be able to get some, but in terms of trying to predict where the price is going to end up at, you could make an argument that this might be the lowest that it ends up at. Now, if we look at Amazon Japan, I was looking at the prices for 151 booster boxes on here. Obviously, when you're buying from Amazon Japan, you have to be careful with where you buy from, as well as the condition, so you should always filter it to being new condition. But when I was looking here, you know, even this morning or 2 days ago, the boxes you could get for 17,500 yen. Now it looks like those boxes have been cleared out. Obviously, it's important to remember that this is all not reprint stock, so this is all based on speculation, but it might very well be that because of speculation, people don't really know where to estimate where the bottom price is going to be and when the right time to buy is. Now, in making this point, I think it's really important to refer to past experience, and in that I'm talking about Eevee Heroes. Now, Eevee Heroes came out at the end of May in 2021, but they did have a reprint towards the end of 2022. And when they announced that reprint, everyone got super excited that, you know, the price is going to absolutely crash and this is going to be great for the hobby, right? So the reprint of Eevee Heroes happened around August 2022 alongside Volt Tackle. But what was interesting is that my friend was able to pick up boxes for 9,500 yen each of Eevee Heroes. And, you know, this was still right before the reprint came. And once the reprint came, it never got that low again. And I had to buy at 13,500 yen. Now, obviously, compared to today's price, 13,500 yen is really good, but what I'm saying is it's very hard to time it correctly as to when the price is going to reach that inflection point. So it's going to come down on the reprint, but it could go back up very, very quickly, because with my experience from Eevee Heroes, this all happened within a few days basically. So I hope that with 151 it's not going to be the last reprint, so that if you miss it this time, you might not miss it the next time at low prices. But all the indications I have so far, we only have the data from prior to reprint sales, and it looks like we've already hit the bottom point. And I'll put some screenshots up here now about other resellers selling. It's without doubt that the price right now is cheaper than it was a week ago, but I don't know what's going to happen on the reprint. It needs to be a massive and sustained reprint. It can't be the last reprint, and it also needs to make sure that these resellers don't get all of the stock, because if they do that, then what's the difference for 151 on this reprint compared to before? The only difference is that there is a little bit less hype about it, because there are other sets around now. Everyone is a bit used to 151 now. People have a bit more completed sets. So those are sort of my thoughts around the reprint announcement for 151. It's just so hard to predict when the right time is to buy. If you have 0 boxes and you're only looking for 1 box, you could have hedged already by now, for example, by getting a box. Hopefully one thing that's going to be really cool to come out of this reprint is actually the card quality, because when 151 first came out, the print quality was absolutely trash, and I can sort of understand why, because they were just trying to rush out all that stock for everyone. But I hope that this time they've had a bit more time to prepare the stock and the card quality will at least be better. To conclude, I don't really have that much more to say about 151. All I wanted to give you was a cautionary tale based on my previous experience with the Eevee Heroes reprint, which is if you wait too long with this reprint and it turns out to be the last one, you might miss that inflection point. So hopefully this video was informative for you guys. You'll definitely have heard about the 151 reprints from everywhere else, but there is a big question mark as to how big this reprint is going to be. Is it going to be the last reprint, and how available is this product going to be for people to get? I certainly hope that it's going to be very easy to get, because I'd love to get some myself. But it is overall a good move for sure that Pokemon is reprinting these. And the best thing, picking up Japanese booster boxes on reprints like right when it happens is, to me, the best way to minimize your risk of picking up a resealed box. Because when you're picking up boxes a few months after release, you know, you don't know how many times it's changed hands, you don't know whose hand it's gotten into. But when you're buying direct from retailers on the reprint, you know, that gives as small a window as possible for you to get scammed, because they're brand new fresh boxes, and you know, it takes time for people to open the boxes, search them, and reseal them. So that's probably my biggest argument towards why you should aim to pick this up on the reprint and not wait too long afterwards. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.